Okay, guys, so we're back with another RWBY review. This time we're going to be discussing episode 8, the newest episode, and man, this one was a doozy. But before I get into that discussion, I just wanted to notice due to my surroundings, this is not my room at home. I am back at college again. As I have roommates, I can't really record in my dorm. So for the remainder of this season, this is going to be my sort of set for these reviews, simply because this is actually a classroom in a big, giant classroom building filled with hundreds of classrooms. This one's very small, very private, because you could just close. There's no windows, and you could just close the door, and it locks from the outside. So, it locks. No one can get in from the outside unless the door's open. Both doors are closed right now, so I'm good. I don't really need to worry about recording here. Plus, it's 2 a.m. and rooms are open to students after I think 7. So it should be fine. But anyway, I guess I'm going to jump right into here. Enough about where I'm filming, talk about the episode. This episode, I feel like it's truly a testament to how good RWBY is of a show for the episode to be every week. The episode to leave you with the same deep feeling of almost happiness that you watch something so amazing and have so much to discuss, and also trauma because of how messed up this does with your emotions, what the show can do to you emotionally. And the show that can have that power with every episode and not have a weak episode for an entire season. In fact, I don't think there's a bad episode of RWBY at all. So the fact that a show can do that for keeping that up for so long, especially in a season with such tension and such all these different events, is just... It's insane how good RWBY is, so to say. It's insane how good of a fictional work RWBY is overall. Because, honestly, other than on technical levels with some animation problems, so far with the narrative and the writing, it's flawless. I mean, can you find really major problems in this show thus far? But anyway, so the episode starts off with... obviously, Team RWBY's being questioned by Ironwood after the events of the last episode. I was convinced Yang was just going to get arrested. She was just going to be taken to jail based on, protocol. But Ozpin was questioning them and explaining how... I have a feeling Ozpin knows that she was innocent, but despite that, he's still forced to obviously make her... She's disqualified from the battle based on what everyone saw. They can't just have her continuing in the battle. Naturally, that's a rational response to what happened, even if she didn't do it. I do have a feeling since Ironwood is working with Ozpin and the Guardians of Remnant, he's part of the Guardians of Remnant, so I do think that he knows that something's up here, and he knows it has something to do with what's going on. So I feel like he does have a deep down know something about what's happening. And we get to see Team RWBY, after he leaves, we get to see Team RWBY alone, and we get to see that everyone trusts Yang. Everyone's still on her side despite what happened. Everyone knows something was wrong and believes her, except for Blake's a little cautious, and I completely understand why. When she explains how Adam started turning into a monster slowly over time, and how she lost trust for a person she once had complete trust and faith in. And she didn't want that to happen again with Yang, so she wanted to take the proper precautions and make sure she could trust Yang. And then once she trusted her. So a lot of people are giving shit to Blake for doing that, but honestly, I feel like it was perfect for Blake's character to be a little cautious at first, and then be willing. And this is actually the scene that made Yang cry. And I think this is the first tears we've seen on the show, if I'm not mistaken. Please comment below or respond on Reddit or WordPress if there are other previous tears in the show, because I really want to remember that. But I feel like these were the first tears in the show, and it was really heartfelt to see these tears, because just so... We never really see tears on the show. It was just so, right in the heart, right there with the tears. And... cuts, so we get to see that relationship develop. And before I get into the next set of characters, I wanted to mention how this episode is definitely a character-heavy episode. We get to see so much character development, and something we so desperately needed in this thing of deep plot and throwing plot at new plot elements and plot proponents everywhere. A nice just, it's still a heavy plot developing episode while being an extreme well charactered moments episode. And what RWBY does is balancing those two perfectly, flawlessly even. And it's just so remarkable how they're able to do that. Which brings me to Team Juniper. Pyrrha is obviously emotionally distraught. She's completely broken, pretty much based on what the decision she has to make. It's too much pressure for a girl her age to have to make this major life-changing decision. And we literally see some of the dynamic, how they also believe Yang's innocent. They also understand that something must be up. But they want to take some time to relax, and then we get some, what is perhaps, in my opinion, the greatest scene in the episode, and probably one of the greatest scenes of the season so far. It's an Arcos moment, Jean and Pyrrha, where Jean sits down with Pyrrha, Nora and Ren are gone, sits down with Pyrrha and really just talks to her, telling her how he's there for her and how he cares about her more than anything, and they put their hands together. If the last season didn't canonize it, this probably does canonize Arcos as a canon ship, and it was 10 out of 10. This was the scene that almost got me crying. It got Zach crying, actually. But he's there for her, and he explains that, and they start talking, and she says, all I need is this, and then all of a sudden, something triggers inside of her. She gets distraught again. She starts doubting herself. Sean gives her more words of wisdom. She gets upset, and then she snaps and smashes Sean into the wall. But rather than any other show, any other story would have been like, he would have been like upset at her and went away or anything, or not been there for her. But any other story, but not RWBY. RWBY's different. RWBY's amazing. He was, despite her smashing him into the wall, he completely understood her. He completely knew that it wasn't justified, but he completely knew what was going through her head to make her do that. And he said, wait, come back. She didn't say, wait, come back. He said, wait, come back, while she ran away. And that makes all the difference. And that makes why RWBY is so special. That encompasses why RWBY as a show is so special in literally one scene. But then, I might have missed the discussion with Crow. I don't remember if it was before or after this episode. I have watched it twice, but I can't remember. Yang, it's so funny because this got undershadowed under everything else that happens in the episode. I almost forgot to talk about it. Yang has a discussion with Crow where Crow reveals that he's in contact with her mother, and Yang reveals that she saw her mother in the split second after she attacked Mercury, and that fear, she saw her mother for a split second. She didn't say anything, and then she disappeared. And she wanted to know if this was a hallucination and stress or not. And Crow revealed, this is not a hallucination. This was indeed your mother. And he reveals that he's still in contact with her mother, and he gave Yang a message from her mother. And it's really a little heartbreaking. I don't remember the exact wording of the message, but it really shows that something must have happened to Raven to make her so pessimistic and so just completely shut off from the world, completely against everything out in the world. I feel like she's definitely deeply intertwined in the events of what's going on with the Chaos Syndicate and the White Fang and this new revolution. She's definitely deeply intertwined in this plan, whether she's a double. What I'm sort of leaning towards the theory that she's a double agent. She's pretending, while she's actually on the side of Ozpin and the Guardians of Revenant, she's pretending to be on the side of the Chaos Syndicate, and it's really, I feel like she's almost like a Snape character in a way. I feel like she's probably, I think Raven is the Snape of RWBY, and just another similarity between RWBY and Harry Potter if this theory turns out to be correct, which it might not be. It might be completely different. It might be, my theory might be so far-fetched. I don't know. But I feel like that's definitely what I'm leaning towards. And if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And this sort of starts a new potential story arc. I don't know if it's leading for next season or the end of the rest of this season, because we only have 4 more episodes left of the season. So I don't know how much they could get done in that department. 4 more 15-minute episodes. But Yang's gonna start searching for her mother, and I feel like because of this, the search will end with the scene we saw in the after credit scene we saw in Volume 2, where I feel like the after credit scene we saw in Volume 2 is after the events of what are going on right now. We still haven't seen that scene yet. I feel like that was like a flash forward of sorts where we see what's going on in the future. But so that's it for that part of the episode. But then we get to the ending of the episode. So RWBY goes to watch the match. She wants to see Pyrrha's in the match naturally. So she sits down. All of a sudden she squints. And she notices something on the other side of the crowd. And this was one of the best cinematographed scenes in the show. Just one of the best, like, filmed, the way the suspension things and the way you sort of realize everything with RWBY, which was really clever. Instead of cutting RWBY, coming down Emerald, you just realize everything with RWBY. Just squints, and when she's on the other side of the crowd, she sees Emerald sitting there, which it was mentioned earlier in the episode that in the entire Emerald, Cinder, and the aliases they have taken upon, they went back with Mercury to visit his family after what happened, all the way in a different country, and were they transfer students? I think they were transfer students. So yeah, like it was like they were going back to see their family in a different area of the world, like, and all of a sudden she's like, what's going on? So she suspects something, and she goes searching she goes to the supply closet to try to get around to figure out what's going on. All of a sudden, she sees Mercury step out of the hall. He stops and realizes, I feel like he stopped not because he realized he was caught, but because the plan is already too far along to fail. I feel like he's like, nothing that would happen now would stop the plan, so I can do whatever I want. And he stops and he start talking, and you hear the matchup between Pyrrha, Polarity, and Penny, Metal. Or Robot, and like, you know what I mean. So he's like, he does this. She's like, what are you doing, Mercury? And he does this really dick asshole, sarcastic, like sort of asshole, just complete, like revealing his true nature, everything about him to RWBY. Where he's like, oh, that doesn't sound like a good match, and an evil smirk appears across his face. She goes to reach for a weapon, nowhere to be found. My theory is that you're not allowed to take weapons unless you're participating in the tournament into the stadium, kind of like a security protocol, like a metal detector in any other, like, venue. And she takes the weapon, not there. And he's about to assault her. Cuts back, where you see the battle about to start between Pyrrha and Penny. Pyrrha looks completely devastated. She looks like she's completely emotionally broken, like she's going to snap at any moment. Face palms. Penny looks really happy as can be. Pyrrha just face palms. Episode ends. Masterful episode. I say that about every episode this season. I'd say the 6th, 7th, and 8th trio are, I could say, so far the golden trio of RWBY episodes, but obviously we're going to get a lot more where this came out. I feel like the rest of the season is going to bang out 10 out of 10s. Every episode is back-to-back 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, and I hate to be so, like, I can give out, leaning in about giving out 10 out of 10s, but these aren't really formal 10 out of 10s. It's not like I'm, ranking each episode. These are just, there's no flaws in these episodes. They're perfectly paced, perfectly well done, perfectly built to the story. It's just this overall narrative that's done perfectly. And RWBY is truly shaping up to be one of the best fictional works of our time, and one of the pinnacles of fiction of our time, as well as one of the best fictional works of all time. You compare, a lot of people say, Ulysses, Kill a Mockingbird, stuff like that. I'd say RWBY's up there, to be honest. RWBY's masterful. It's near flawless. It's just this masterful fictional work. It's a masterpiece, and there's not much more I could say about this, and this episode only solidified it. I definitely think the scene between Pyrrha and John truly identified the skillful and masterful storytelling that RWBY has to offer, and I can't wait to see what's coming next. And that's this review, pretty much. 10 out of 10 episode, I can't get over how good RWBY has been this season, how it was towards the end of my top 10, probably 9 or 10, and just skyrocketed to high, top 5 material right from this season. It's just, I don't want to keep this going too long. I'm just going to wrap up here, so thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.